Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today. What is a man? From the It's Complicated channel, and you already know these women are always going to give self-serving answers as to what a real man actually is. So let's jump in. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Let's take a listen.
Do you think a man is less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
I do think so. Me and my roommates talk about it all the time, and that's one of the qualities we look for in a man, just to know that we can be safe and protected with them.
Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
No.
Why is there a difference?
Because I don't know how to cook a meal from scratch, so...
What if a man doesn't know how to change a tire?
Well, I guess it's okay, but if a man wants a woman who can cook, then they shouldn't date me.
What is a woman?
What is a woman? I think it's someone that is born female.
Someone who was born with female parts.
To me, a woman is somebody that is beautiful inside and out, empowered, and inspires positive change in the world around her.
If a woman is an adult human female, why wouldn't an adult human male be the definition of a man?
Who says it's not a definition of a man?
That is the definition of a man, right? Like,
what is the difference between a male and a man?
a male is someone who was born with male parts.
Male is male is male is male. But to me, a man is somebody that is a protector, a provider, and makes you want to be that feminine woman for them.
I love how guys, like, straight into it, within a minute, we already have women saying nonsense crap, which is that a man is essentially, and then she'll go on to say things that benefit her. You know, it's not about like, oh, having good morals, having things that you stand by, being a good person. No, apparently being a man is simply defined by what you provide to a woman. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, guys, that when you come out here and you actually ask a lot of women, what they end up saying is that a man is only a true man if he's giving her things, right? Giving her resources, giving her protection, and so on.
A man is really someone who's like a developed masculine man who is like born and like developed and grown in society like as a man.
Well, why are there more burdens placed on a man to begin with?
Because that's how God designed us.
I come from a religious standpoint on it, so I think that girls are more emotional, right? So our role is to nurture and be there, while men are supposed to be the providers and work.
I think that depends on who you talk to, because you could say that there's burdens placed on women also.
What does masculinity look like if you're not religious, traditional, or conservative?
I feel that like if you're chivalrous, if you are a problem solver. For me as a woman, sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I just want my man to take over and be like, oh, thank God you helped me. Or if I feel like a man is someone that can help me figure out problems or help me through my day if, I'm ever feeling that I get stuck. So
Yeah, so a man, right, is essentially what can be done for her. A man is something that does things for her. And this is why a lot of dudes have really had enough, is because, they don't actually value you for who you are intrinsically. They don't care about your morals, your personality, what kind of a person you actually are. What it really boils down to is, okay, is this man providing something to me? Is he as this woman says, right? Is he helping me through my day? And if he's not helping, her through her day, then he's not a real man. It's so ridiculous to me, guys. Imagine if I came on here and I said, a woman isn't a real woman unless she's cooking a meal for you every day, right? Unless she's making dinner for you every day. The amount of women that would absolutely lose their marbles over that is insane. But because it's dudes, right, nobody cares. Oh, men do this for me. Men have to do this in order to qualify as being a man.
Oh, just someone that can help me a little bit.
Why are men defined by their role while women are defined by their existence?
I I think women are also defined by their role. It depends on who you ask. There's a lot of societal pressure, especially now in the day and age of social media. I myself often find comparing myself to others on social media. So I think it goes both ways. It just depends on who you ask.
Women introduce themselves to me. They'll say hi and we'll talk about it. And then it's like, oh, are you a mom? Or what do you do for your job? And so it's like, what is your role? Not just merely existing. So I think we get a lot of that too.
Do you think that men get joy and gratitude out of serving women even if women don't reciprocate?
Oh, I think it depends on the reason that they're doing it.
A lot of men that I meet in my life, and maybe it's like a demographic thing, but I think men get satisfaction by like serving a woman and like leading a woman, and it just really depends on how they're raised though.
Isn't that the definition of a simp?
You're right. I mean, the definition of a simp is like really like serving, like bowing down to your wife. But I think like masculinity, it goes both ways. However, like it still goes both ways. Like women can still serve men as well. But I think like a masculine man is comfortable in his own skin to lead a woman.
Guys, these videos are always so funny to me, man, because the women are just bending over backwards to try and say that a real man is one who provides. You know, no matter the circumstances. Hey, she doesn't reciprocate in any capacity. You know, she doesn't appreciate it. She doesn't pitch in. Well, a masculine man would provide anyway. No. You see what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing. A lot of guys don't have an issue with providing for a woman. What they do have an issue with is providing for women who are not worth it. Right? If you were to say, hey, listen, these days you go out there and you provide for a woman and she will provide for you back, right? She'll be cooking your meals. You'll have a nice family together. She'll express gratitude towards the things that you do, right? You start introducing these elements and dudes might start considering it, okay? Because back in the day, dudes would provide because they actually knew that perhaps the women were worth providing for. These days, man, you can go out here and provide for a woman. She won't be out here cooking you meals. She won't be supportive. You lose your job, she bounces. Oftentimes, these women are incredibly disloyal. Go take a look at their Instagram DMs, okay? And things like this. So dudes have gone, you know what? The deal isn't worth it. I'm not providing anymore. And this makes absolute sense to me, man. Because here's the definition of simping. I think what it really boils down to is just giving women crap for nothing and hoping that they like you. That's absolutely stupid. I have no issues with like the traditional guys who provide for their wives and stuff like this. Maybe dudes who've been married for like 40 years and whatever, and they provide, and she does all the cooking. She looks after the house. You know, she looked after the kids and everything. But these days, guys, like you want to provide for a woman, you want her to look after the kids. Oftentimes, these women will straight up leave you and rob your ass. So what's the point? You know, the traditional family has kind of been thrown a little bit out of the window because you can't provide for modern women anymore, really.
Isn't that the definition of a simp?
Maybe, but we like simps.
Well, I don't know the simp.
Yeah, of course you do, right? Simps, free attention, free validation, free things. You know, notice what women are doing, guys. They're trying to say, oh, a masculine man is one who gives me things for nothing. But in reality, what that is, you know, it's complicated as right. It's just absolutely a simp. Women don't deserve validation and things simply because they exist. That's stupid.
Definition of a simp?
Maybe, but we like simps.
Well, I don't know what a simp is.
Would men still serve women if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
Would they steal or should they steal?
What do you think?
Well, they should steal.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, men should just provide even though we get no reciprocation whatsoever. Yeah, okay.
I hope so. I think so.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
Yes, I think that's the right thing to do.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Guys, I don't know what other way I can word this, right? So let me get this straight. A man should protect for you. He should provide for you. He should care for you, despite the fact that he gets nothing in return. But let's run that question back again. That is so damn ridiculous, guys.
And regardless.
I hope so. I think so.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
Yes, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, so even if your wife, guys, comes out here and she treats you like crap, She treats you like a horrible human being. She doesn't appreciate the effort you put in. Maybe you've got a girlfriend or something like this and you're doing absolutely everything and she doesn't appreciate it. Well, a real man would stick around and keep doing it. Sorry, but this doesn't work anymore, man. The guys are just like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. Why should a dude continue to provide for a woman, care for a woman, respect a woman who does not reciprocate at least something back? You know? Like, and a lot of guys, they'll work really hard. They'll look after women, and it doesn't require a whole lot. You know, like a lot of guys will sacrifice absolutely everything for their families. All it requires is a little bit of gratitude. Even then, there are dudes out here providing for families where they get no gratitude whatsoever. But if you're trying to convince me that men should just provide to you simply because, it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, unless you're beating his ass, then probably not. But
oh my goodness,
if you just drink a little too much and get a little crazy, there's no reason he should be mad at you because you're just having fun. And he needs to get a better personality.
Would men still serve women if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
No.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
No.
No, I wouldn't do that based on gender. I think that respect is earned regardless of your gender.
How can a man respect women without losing self-respect in the process?
I don't think you lose respect by respecting women. I think a man that respects a woman is more respectable.
What is the difference between a show horse and a plow horse?
Well, a show horse is like me.
Show horse can be a performance horse. Plow horse is like a working ranch farm horse.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
Women are supposed to be praised and beautiful, and men are supposed to bring home the money.
A show horse is designed to be beautiful and pretty. A plow horse is a stockier build. That's where you're going to run into your drafts. They're comfortable, they're fun, they're cool little gentle giants, but at the end of the day, their job is to pull and push heavy objects, so they're going to have a bigger frame.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
I don't think that women are show horses on display. I do like the idea of a man being a plow horse. I think that's quite funny. But women can be strong too. As a matter of fact, I lift 3 days a week at least, and it comes in handy working on a ranch. You have to be able to do things yourself as well, and I don't think it makes a man a workhorse, but I've seen some pretty guys too, so men can be show horses too, I suppose.
Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine, or does it shame men more for being weak?
It shames men more for being weak.
Definitely weak.
Yeah, weak.
Why do you feel that way?
I think we prefer stronger men. I don't know.
Why do people think that if you're not this macho alpha male, that means you want to put on a dress and wear makeup?
I personally don't think that. I think other people might think that because there's this air of like toughness that represents toughness, and that you somehow have to be more resilient that way.
Society really, really pushes men to be extremely macho. And
you know what, guys? I would actually say it's quite the opposite. This is just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comments below, but I think masculine men are actually some of the most criticized men that there are, to be honest with you. I think men are actively encouraged to be more feminine, more in touch with their feelings, you know, be weaker, and so on and so forth, right? Give in to your emotions. You know, like, I think that dudes are more actively discouraged from being masculine, to be honest with you, these days. Dudes who are masculine, dudes who actually have their own opinions, who don't just listen to whatever the mainstream media wants them to tell you. Yeah, whatever the mainstream media says, excuse me. These guys are considered dangerous by society a lot of the times. They're considered uncontrollable. You know, they don't give away their resources to women for no reason, and obviously that's a problem. I think masculine men are more shamed than they've ever been, man. You guys look at like modern day movies, man. The protagonists that are males are oftentimes just straight up wimps. They have no idea what they're doing. They lack incredible amounts of confidence. You know, they're incredibly weak characters. They're unsure. They're awkward and all of these sorts of things. You look at the women characters, man, they're just competent as hell these days. It's like, on the one hand, you have the dudes who are bumbling idiots in media, right? Movies and things like this. And then on the other hand, you have the women in those same pieces of media, and they just, you know, they know all the plans. They've got everything sorted. I think masculine men, assertive men, men who know what they're doing, right, who have their own opinions and so on, these guys are actively shamed because people are trying to get things from them. I think a man who does his own thing is considered to be a problem by society and by women.
And that's not necessarily, it can also be like in a toxic way.
Some of the ones I know are very scrawny, short guys that don't look very hyper masculine. Some of them are very pretty too, some of them aren't. But to me, they're hyper masculine in the sense that they are the provider. They care about their woman, and their wives are absolutely gorgeous. So you can still get a beautiful woman as long as you're that man.
Yeah, guys, you know, just hand over the money. You'll get a beautiful woman. You know, you just have to be a provider. That's really what it's all about. Go out there, give away your resources to women who don't reciprocate it, guys. You too can get a beautiful woman. You just need a nice big bank account and a good personality, and you need to give it away to a woman, and that's what makes you a real masculine man. Like, get the hell out of here.
Absolutely gorgeous. So you can still get a beautiful woman as long as you're that man.
Like, a man should still pursue and lead and like provide for a woman emotionally, not just financially, emotionally, and that's when a man is safe and secure in his own skin. However, I don't necessarily think like society thinks that if they're not necessarily there yet, they need to put on a dress and they're like a little B word.
Wait. So men need to give their resources, and men need to support women financially and emotionally to be secure in themselves? What the hell is this logic, guys? You know, that's like me saying, in order for a woman to be secure in herself, she has to be making me sandwiches. Like, what are we talking about here? And also, by the way, do women give emotional support to men these days? Because more often than not, they simply don't. Like, are we going to be honest about this stuff? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're just straight up lying. You know, what makes a real man, a nice, secure man, is one who gives me his money and looks after me emotionally and financially. And that's how you get a beautiful woman, guys. Have you guys seen, like, some of the most attractive women, they go out here and they just hook up with dudes because they're attractive. You know, they go and get the simp later when they're like pushing 30, and then they'll get some dude to pay her bills and give her resources. But like, for women to come out here and say, you know, the way to get a woman is to just be masculine and give her your things. Like, come on now.
There yet, they need to put on a dress and they're like a little B word.
Can someone be masculine but not a man, or be a man but not masculine?
Depending on your definition of masculinity, yes.
So why is masculinity even applied to men in the first place?
I think gender constructs and what makes us comfortable as a society, not that it makes it right.
I think there's different levels of how masculine a man can be, but that doesn't not make him a man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why is there so much confusion about what a woman is, but everyone seems to know what a real man is?
Because you're asking the women about who a real man is?
Again, I think like cultural constructs of men needing to provide or needing to be in the position of provision.
I think this was an interesting answer by this woman, because the implication is obviously that if you ask women, they're just going to give you self-serving definitions. You know, if you ask dudes what a man and a woman is, they'll just tell you people who were just born genetically as a man or a woman. You know what I mean? Male, female, two genders. That's what they'll tell you. Born as a female, female. Born as a male, male. That's what most dudes will tell you. Unless, of course, they've been completely indoctrinated. But women, you go out there and you ask them what a man is. Oh, hell yeah, you know, man's got to pay my bills. A real man is one that does this, that, blah, blah, blah. You know, they'll say, well, a male is one that was born as a male, obviously. He's got male genitalia and so on. But what makes a man? Ho, ho, ho. Boy, do I have some tasks for men to do. You know, here's the things that make a man a man. Like, shut the hell up.
Women about who
Needing to provide or needing to be in the position of provision.
When you ask a woman what she wants in a man, she's going to define that traditional role, I believe, most of the time. Do we want the show horse or do we want the plow horse? I mean, there's, of course, at least a little bit of truth in the fact that we do kind of want a show horse, too. There's nothing that breaks my heart more than seeing a beautiful woman, and I've seen it here at the NFR, beautiful woman walking around, dressed to the nines, makeup, hair done, on point. and then her man's walking around in gym clothes. So when you ask a woman what she defines as a man, you're going to get a little bit more of an accurate representation versus if you ask anybody else about what defines a woman, you're going to get a million and one questions and answers all in the same statement.
Yeah, guys, you know, it breaks her heart to see a woman who's with a guy wearing gym clothes when she's all dressed up. Like, okay, can men go around now and say, well, this guy's with a woman over here and she only has 1/10 in her bank account as what he does? It absolutely breaks his heart. You know, because then dudes would be called insecure, by the way, if we were walking around saying crap like that. Like, oh, you're insecure, you shouldn't care about a woman's money, and so on and so forth. But again, women just actively judge the hell out of dudes. I've noticed this as well, guys. Women actually judge each other most critically. Most dudes don't give a damn nearly as much as these women think, you know, about things like appearance and stuff. Like, obviously men do care if their woman is attractive or not, but like, again, you don't have to be some supermodel or something like this. He's not going to think that he's just so much above you if you're, you know, not some supermodel or something. It's ridiculous. No guy's going to go, oh, it breaks my heart because, you know, this woman's a 6 and my friend's a 9. You know what I mean? Ridiculous.
Why can a woman be whatever she wants, but a man is clearly defined?
I would argue that it also is that way for women because a lot of times it's you have to either be a mother or in the workforce, that you're not allowed to have crossover.
No, nobody says that in order to be a woman, you have to be in the workforce or you have to be a mother, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going out here saying this. And just by the way, the reason why having a crossover, people say that you can't typically have a crossover is because it's very difficult to do. Point in case, you ask women who are out here and, you know, they are trying to work a job and also support their family at the same time, right? To try and be the mother and also the breadwinner. A lot of these women will tell you it's incredibly difficult and they can't do it. So, you know, it's actually more so the women who are saying that it's difficult and it's hard to do. Not to say that it can't be done, but women have been sold this lie that they can absolutely do everything.
What constitutes a weak man versus a strong man?
I think a strong man is someone who can show up confidently as himself and answers to himself. And a weak man is someone who feels like they have to put other people down or treat people poorly to compensate for their own issues.
Why don't we have those same stipulations for women? Does a woman have to be a feminist or masculine to be considered strong?
No, I don't think that they do.
It could be mentally strong or physically strong. Even myself, I like to get pretty and dress up, but I also like to go rope and go weld and do masculine things. That doesn't make me more masculine than other girls, or even when I get dressed up more feminine than other girls. That's just who I am, and I think people need to be true to who they are and stick to it, and just, like I said, treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Why don't women shame each other for being weak the same way that men shame each other for being weak?
I think women shame each other for being weak. They just do it in a more backhanded, mean way.
I mean, I think if you just go on social media, how girls compare themselves to each other and tear each other down, I think it's pretty equal, yeah.
I actually think, you know what's funny? I think it's way worse. I think that women are each other's harshest critics, man. I think this is some of the most funny crap ever, because you tell women about this and they will absolutely agree with you. Like, if you ask a woman, do you think that other women are incredibly harsh to each other? Do you think that women are most critical of each other? And they'll tell you absolutely, like, yeah, they'll say crap behind your back. They'll talk so much smack about you, and so on and so forth. I don't know if a lot of the critique is going to be leveraged at women being weak per se. You know, like, oh, she can't, if you're talking about like physically weak, oh, she can't lift X amount of weight. I don't think women are going to really shame her for that, because they don't, you know, it's not really a metric that they look at. But other sorts of reputation damage, women will absolutely engage in, right? If they want to damage your reputation, if they don't like you, they will absolutely do it. But they'll usually say it's because, you know, you made X decision, or, you know, things like this. It's more so a different kind of metric. But women absolutely criticize the hell out of each other. Also, when men criticize each other, it tends to be more from like a playful place, you know? Like, you're out there, let's just say you're at the gym with your friends, your friend doesn't lift as much weight as you. You might tease him and say that he's weak because he can't lift as much as you, but it's all said in kind of like a fun way. Women, on the other hand, guys, when they go after your reputation, when they start to criticize you, holy hell, they are so mean to each other, man. There's no playfulness there, you know.
Why is it when we talk about women's issues, it's considered the war on women, but when we talk about men's issues, it's considered the war on masculinity?
Because I would argue maybe the men that are struggling with that war the most are having a hard time defining their own masculinity for themselves.
Maybe it's just a social media thing, but guys are getting away from their traditional roles. Back even with my father and seeing him as growing up, he always made sure that my mom knew that if she wanted to work, she could work. If she wanted to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom, which she was, she had that opportunity presented to her as well. Now, with the economy doing what it's doing, it's very hard to see a man that can step into that role completely and provide for not just himself and the household, but also a partner and children.
Yeah, so now you have women out here being required to work as well, which I find to be so funny, guys. You know, women have said, we're strong and independent, we can do it too. And so the market and the government said, okay, let's get them into the workforce. And now everybody has to work in order to supply for a family. You know, back in the day, one dude was able to provide for the family. He could go out there, he could be a bricklayer or something. The woman would stay home, look after the kids. These days, you pretty much, like a lot of people, even if they have a two-parent household income, which a lot of households are broken anyway, a lot of these people actually struggle to look after children and stuff like this. And this was because, you know, women came and said, well, we can do it too. We want to work. And now a lot of them are backtracking, by the way. You actually have a lot of women over on TikTok complaining now that they have to work and that men don't provide for them and so on and so forth.
Why don't we consider it a war on men any more than we consider it a war on femininity?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What does masculinity look like if you're not religious, conservative, or traditional?
I think it's showing up as yourself confidently and not waiting for society to tell you who to be or how to treat women or how to love yourself exactly as you were made.
What's the difference between a feminist defining a real man versus the masculinity movement defining a real man?
A feminist defining a man, I don't think either are okay.
Well, what gives either one the right to define manhood?
I don't think either have the right to define manhood.
Why don't we allow men to be defined in their own right?
I think men should be defining themselves. And I think even like subconsciously adhering to gender constructs or what society thinks or tells them what masculinity is, that's undoing to themselves.
When it comes to relationships...
Oh, not this woman again. No, I thought we got away from her, guys. I thought we escaped.
Men are expected to protect and provide. If men should protect because they're physically stronger, why shouldn't the woman pay the bills? Why shouldn't the man be assigned both duties when women are capable of at least being a provider?
Well, because we have to take care of those damn kids. And then we have to wash those clothes, and then we have to cook those dinners, and then we have to wash all those dirty everything, and we're tired of it.
Okay, so I think that if you're both working, because I work and my boyfriend works, and I think that could be 50-50, and I'm okay with that. But let's say we have babies and I want to be a stay-at-home wife, then he'll take on that role and I'll nurture, I'll take care of the house, I'll make sure there's meals when he comes home from work. So I think it's a 50-50 equal effort.
If men are expected to risk their lives, why can't women risk their paychecks?
Because we don't make as much as them sometimes, and even if we do, our money is our money, and their money is our money.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, guys. You know, I thought, you know what? I'll cover a few videos that aren't TikToks, okay? The TikTok ban went through, got shut down. I thought to myself, finally, fantastic. So I go out here, I cover some other videos, and what do you know? Some of the women are just as damn delusional. Guys, we're going to be leaving it there. I can't listen to these individuals anymore. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. I'm going to leave a link to the original video in the pinned comment, and as well as the description if I remember. So don't forget to go and check out the It's Complicated channel. Absolutely hilarious stuff. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.